and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for their war. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slide, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. See their shit, force a bear. Fuck them back, that's only fair. They bomb, they shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape. They burn the kids, no one makes countries. Lie to your face, fight and die, 'cause God forgives. Yeah. Coming back around again.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ron Stevens. This is Rock the Boat right here on UCY.tv. And it's Thursday, the 25th of August. And things just keep getting stranger, don't they? They got so much garbage coming at us. It's very difficult to keep up with it. Very difficult to keep up with it. So up here in Canada-stan, I guess you call it, we have the RCMP who are supposed to protect us, have moved into encouraging Muslim women to join the RCMP. Now, I'm pretty much convinced now that you got to be a retard to be a cop, any kind of a cop. It seems to be where we're going with this. I mean, why will that not give me a... Anyways. Yeah, so they got a new hijab or hijab or whatever the hell they call that thing that these Muslim women wear. So they fashioned up a new one, and they're encouraging Muslim women to join the RCMP. Now, obviously, they can't find anyone else to join the RCMP, obviously, because there can't be anybody in this country of 34 million people who wish to be a RCMP officer, or they wouldn't have any need to encourage Muslim women to join. Hell is with this stupid search engine? Oh, here we go. Now, this story is absolutely stupid. It'll come up here. Newest. Here it is. Here, this is beyond stunned. RCMP developed safety-tested hijab for female officers. With this decision, the RCMP intends to encourage more Muslim women to consider a career with the Mounties. And the problem with this is the Mounties are out of uniform. You can't have, I mean, a uniform is uniform. It's all the same. That's what it is. It's the same. Now, when you make it different, then it's no longer uniform. So the RCMP are out of uniform. And I think that must break some rule somewhere, that the RCMP must be in proper uniform in order for anybody to have to pay any attention to them. And now that they're out of uniform, and this started, I don't recall when the very first, 1990. Here it is. In 1990, after much debate, the RCMP allowed Sikh members to wear turbans. Sikh members of the Canadian Forces are also allowed, to wear turbans. Now, this all has to do with multiculturalism, and multiculturalism, as far as I can find, was something fired up by the Jews in order to destroy the Christian faith. And so now we have, since 1990, I remember that, big hoo-ha about this guy wanting to wear his turban. Well, the turban is not part of the uniform of the RCMP yet. They bent the rules for this guy. And now they're bending the rules for the Muslims. The problem is both of those are religious gear. Okay? Those are both religious gear. Cultural and religious. Now, you have the right to religious freedom. Problem is, our government is secular. And therefore, there is no room in any government body for religion. Now, our parliament's filling up with turbans and hijabs and all kinds of garbage. We got mosques going up all over the place. We've got just a real mess on our hands here. Now, this is definitely the takedown, or the attempted takedown, of the Christian faith. And I've been yapping at this for so long, it's ridiculous. They can't get the West till they kill the Christian faith. And they can't get the West till they kill the American Constitution. Well, like President Bush said, well, things would be a lot easier if it wasn't for that thing. It's just a damn piece of paper anyways. What do we care? So your politicians are doing the bidding of the internationalists, the globalists, the one-worlders, in both senses. And they intend to trash the West. And then they can have their world order. The question is, are we going to allow them to do it? I really don't know how stupid you have to be a cop. I really don't understand just how low your IQ's actually got to be. I really don't. These people are bent. They're not here to protect you. No police force is here to protect you. The Army's not here to protect you. Okay, all of our governments are companies, businesses, corporations. And they're trying to make the takeover of the West a friendly takeover, a friendly acquisition, if you will, versus Libya and Iraq and many other places, which were not friendly takeovers. But these are all businesses. And it's all about business. Affairs means business. So you have the police protecting the corporation at home. You have the military protecting the business interests overseas. Same thing. Now, why would the RCMP allow the proud RCMP of Canada, with their so proud of their uniforms, why would they let someone don a turban? It's pretty simple. This is the uniform of this RCMP. If you wish to be an RCMP officer, you wear the uniform. You put your culture aside, you put your religion aside, and you get into the uniform. If you're not prepared to do that, well, go find a different job. But no. We have to bend the rules. Why are you bending the rules? Well, it's multiculturalism. And what is multiculturalism? Genocide. So these idiots in these proud RCMP uniforms are helping to commit genocide against their own people. That's why I asked how stupid you got to be a cop. You really got to be pretty daft. You don't even need a high reading level to be able to figure out what's going on. But then you have the RCMP and the OPP and that dressing up in red shoes and hiking their pant legs up to look like little girls in order to promote the GBLTQ or whatever they call it. Because we have to everyone. Well, if you respect everyone, then you respect no one. You can't respect everyone unless you never go out of your house. One thing here that I didn't know about was staff's, let's see, in 2013, the Parti Québécois, that's the Quebec Party, introduced its ill-starred Charter of Values, which would have barred the province's public servants from wearing religious symbols, including hijabs at work. Well, that makes sense because the government is secular. If the government wasn't secular, we would have law. The law that the Queen took the oath to uphold in the King James Bible. But they separated church and state. So you can practice your religion at home or in your places of worship. But it has no place as far as government is concerned because government is secular. Government is a business. And the legal system is the so-called law system for business. It is not law, it's similar to like color of, but not law. At best, you could call it commercial law, but it is not law. So I'm going to look at this real quick here. Pauline Marquois, who's another nutcase, says the Parti Québécois planned charter of Quebec values, which would include a ban on religious headwear for public employees, will be a uniting force for the province. In her first public comments on the controversial proposal, since details were revealed last week, this was from 2013, Quebec Premier rejected any suggestion new rules would be a source of division among the population. Instead, Marquois said the charter will help bring Quebec together, much like Bill 101, the province's landmark legislation aimed at protecting the French language. The charter would affirm once and for all the equality between men and women, she said, and it will reflect not only universal values, but Quebec values as well. We're moving forward in the name of all women, all men who chose Quebec for our culture, for our freedom, and our diversity, she said, Sunday in a gathering of young PQ members in Quebec City. Leaked details published in the media report last week include a plan to prohibit people like doctors, teachers, and public daycare workers from donning turbans, kippas, hijabs, and visible crucifixes. Marquois said the charter would be the culmination of a long process that began a half century ago with the secularization of the public institutions such as schools. Okay, so they took the law out of the schools and they put in the legal system. She didn't take questions from reporters after her speech. Past polls have suggested such a charter would be popular in Quebec, but last week's new details drew an angry response from some pundits and minority groups, probably those wearing the headgear. The PQ, which is planning to bring forward the legislation this fall, is a minority government. It is not clear yet if the plan will get support from the opposition parties. Philippe Couillard, the new Quebec Liberal leader, who has been highly critical of the ideas, said Sunday he would try to be constructive in dealing with the charter, but he accused the PQ of trying to distract voters from more important issues. I see this as quite an obvious attempt to move citizens' attention away from jobs and economy, he said. This is all about our countries. This is all about our laws. And we've been lied to for so freaking long. People have lost touch with any reality. Now, I've seen an RCMP officer on the West Coast got busted for snagging 10 kilo of coke out of the coke holding cells, I guess, the evidence place. And so they took the 10 kilo of coke and then put a bag in there with probably baking powder or something in the damn thing. And the thing was supposedly worth $800 million. And had a partner, I guess, go out and move this stuff. But will this guy be found guilty? Highly bloody likely. In the process, he's on full pay at leave. So he's on a holiday till they figure out what to do with him. And as they always do, they figure out what to do with him slowly, so you forget about it. And then they will, like they always do with the police, make an attempt to get him off or something. You know, he was probably stressed out. He was probably traumatized from some of his work, and he didn't really realize what he was doing, and he shouldn't be held accountable for it, and yodi. And that's where we are. I watched a little bit of TV at a friend's place this morning. Oh, it was CNN, MSN, or Fox. I don't know what the hell it was. But that's spooky. It boggles the mind that people sit in front of these things and watch TV. Television. Let us propagandize you a little more. Let's mix you up a little bit more. Let's screw with your brain a little bit more. And then the people who watch TV, go to work, go to the coffee shop, whatever, and discuss what they saw on TV like it has any semblance of reality. And that pretty much spooks me. I was on a show last night. I was invited onto another radio show last night. I won't mention the name of it. And because I'm hoping to have the host on in the future. Because we have some discussing left to do. But near the end of the show, I just wanted to mention something about Islam. And he took quite offense to that. And he called the whole idea of Islam and Muslims being a problem as a conspiracy theory. And that kind of threw me. This guy has a pretty popular show and everything. And I told him it was not about anything other than creating a spiritual war, which is all it's about. But he was adamant that I was a conspiracy theorist and that the Muslims have no want to cause any problems or anything. They just like to come here. And he started using excuses like, we owe it to them because, we bombed their nations and stuff. I said, they bombed them on purpose. So they create the migrants. Pretty simple. So they could flood them into our lands. And the deal is to implement Sharia law. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Because Islam is state and church, not separated. Not separated. Now, had we not separated our church and state, we would have stayed as peoples created by a creator, not evolutionary monkeys. That's one of the main reasons they separated the church and the state. So they could move us away from law. And they use us as collateral for their loans. And we're the surety for the loans. And we're on the hook for the loans. And the government is never responsible for anything it does or any debt it creates. And in doing so, they harm everyone. And you see, law comes with responsibility. And the law is very simple. Do no harm. Well, if you look around at the harm that's been caused to the people on these lands in the West, and I'm going to hang with America and Canada because it's my home and my neighbor's home. If you look at the harm that's been caused by these so-called politicians, which are nothing more than fancied up businessmen and criminals, simply because they caused harm. But this guy I was talking to last night on the radio, he don't see any of that stuff. So either he needs to do some more research or he's got to hang a shill hat on his shill shingle on his show window. But I'm hoping to have him back on. Well, have him on my show because I was on his show last night. And we can go at this a little bit more. I was a little disappointed in that particular show host. So hopefully he'll come on the show and we can hack away at this some more. Okay, where was I at here? Now, I got some studying to do on this whole Muslim nonsense here. One thing for sure, though, is that the police forces are bringing on board. They call it diversify. Well, if you look up diversify in etymology, one of the meanings of diversify is evil and wicked. And it is evil and it is wicked because it is genocide. And genocide has got to be evil and wicked. So if you look up Muslim, it says Muslim is a believer or follower of Islam or Islam. And if you see that it is a follower of Islam, and if we punch on Islam, I think the religion of the Mohammedans or whatever, and whatever Islamism, their formula of faith is there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is the prophet. Well, it tells you right there that if we're this is the Webster Dictionary, and it tells you right there, if we look up the word Muslim, now the RCMP are recruiting Muslims to join the police force. And a Muslim is a believer or follower of Islam. You push on Islam, their formula of faith is there is no God but Allah. Well, wait a minute here. So we are putting these people into our police forces, and they don't like Christians because anybody that ain't following Muhammad is apparently a problem. But yet we're putting these people into our police forces. Now, Canada's pretty unique in a way because way back when on the CBC, the Communist Broadcasting Corporation, the major propaganda machine, although none of the papers are stepping up to the plate, and or no media is stepping up to the plate to put some truth and reality forward. They're all playing the same international globalist game, playing us for fools. So it's a secular government that we have, yet we're bringing in and letting them wear their headgear to show that there is no God but Allah. Now, the West is based on Christianity, and there is no God but Allah. The hell are they doing here? It's called genocide. Now, one of the things I mentioned to the guy that was saying that this whole Islamic pushback is about conspiracy theory and is based on nothing but bullcrap, I explained to them that I did have a meeting or attend a meeting with the young Muslims, the Muslim youth. It's got to be 4 or 5 years ago now, and spent a couple hours talking to them. And there was some young people there and some of their handlers. And we had a very quiet, interesting chat. And I explained to them what the purpose of them being here is and what the plan is. And they agreed with it 100%. And this is what they told me, that the Quran will be the religious book of the nation, and Sharia law will be the law of this nation. And they believe it. Because they've been told that by the globalists, by the UN, and satanic dogs over there. And here we have our governments, our media, all promoting this as a good thing. Well, Christianity and Islam are like oil and water. You can't mix them. So if you mix them and try to stir them up, the best you can do is get some friction out of it, but they will always separate. When we have people in our so-called halls of government wearing turbans and hijabs and that, how much more in the face does it have to get? But we're so propagandized that we look the other way. So if we look at, if we have words down, faith, fatwa, Islamization, Islamist, Muslim, and so on and so forth. But if we look up Islamist, which comes from Muslim, which comes from Islam, it says Islamist, a believer or follower of Islam. Well, we've already shown that. And then words that are attached to Islamist, and this is in the Webster's Dictionary. The first word in the list is assassin. One who kills or attempts to kill by surprise or secret assault, and who treacherously murders anyone unprepared for defense. To assassinate. Assassin, a member of a secret order of Muslims founded in the 12th century who terrorized and killed Christians. Wait a minute, isn't this a Christian nation? Now you got to understand that all of the Muslims are not going to, it's like everything else, okay? You have a lot of the Muslims would like probably not to be a lot Muslims. I was reading a thing today about the hijab, and a Muslim woman has come out totally against it, saying all this is to keep women down. Okay, it's a control mechanism, and they're not happy about it, but they're fearful, because if they don't, well, then they've left the faith, and if they leave the faith, well, all kinds of bad things can happen to you. So, there's probably a great number of people who are Muslim, who, like many Christians, are being led by the nose by certain sectors or sections of that religion, and are being propagandized and led, and have no clue what's going on. But what's behind it's what's dangerous. So this is some of the words. I mean, we started with the word Muslim, and it's very simple. Muslim, someone of the faith of Islam. And then we get to Islamist, then we got assassin. We have a whole bunch of words here I can't hardly pronounce. We have jihadist. What is a jihadist? A Muslim who is involved in jihad, it says. All right. What is jihad? Jihad. A religious war against infidels or Mohammedan heretics, also any bitter war or crusade for the principle of belief. Holy war waged by Muslims against infidels. And it's funny. One of the synonyms here is synonyms. Oh, that's international jihad, and that's what's going on. It's being spread across the world. Jihad, a holy struggle or striving by a Muslim for a moral or spiritual or political goal. Now, we know that Islam is a non-separation of church and state. So jihad is a holy struggle or striving by a Muslim for a moral or spiritual or political goal. Now, they're moving into our political sphere. They're obviously moving into our police forces. They're moving into our schools. And we are infidels. The builders of these nations were of the Christian faith. And we are infidels as far as Islam is concerned. Now, what purpose would we have of importing Muslims of the Islamic faith who look at us as infidels? And who created the multiculturalism business? The Jews. And the Jews call us Goy. And if you're sitting across the table from one, having dinner, you're to look at him as a dog. And a lot of similarities between the Jewish and the Islamists. One kills their animals, call it kosher, and the other one calls it halal. But if you look at the killing of the animals, the similarities, you can just, they look identical. They both hate Christians with a passion. And we're genocided. We are in the middle of a massive genocide. And for some oddball reason, through propaganda in school and university and all this kind of nonsense, people don't seem to get it. They just don't seem to get it. If you look at the Jews, you go back to Germany, pre-World War II, all of the, what would I call that? They were in charge of the pornography business. What they were doing is they were seducing, I suppose, the people to move away from what they knew to be right. They've always done that. They want the world. Okay? The Jews got kicked out of Israel. They're not the chosen people. And so they want to rebuild their position, so to speak, the position they lost, the chosen people. And they're willing to do whatever it takes to try to accomplish that, and that is world order. And they're going to cleanse the earth of us, which is the UN depopulation program. And we know they're more than capable of it because 200 plus million people got killed in 2 world wars alone. That didn't count the other wars. In their attempt to create the world government body, the UN, and the state of Israel, of which the Jews were kicked out of when they lost their position as God's chosen people. So it's all interconnected. It's all intertwined. We are at war. It is the Third World War. It is well underway, and we best come to terms with it. Stop dealing in politics immediately. It's a ruse. You can't vote because you're subject to the state. Citizen means subject. You are a subject of the state. You were created into a fictional entity, and it is a fictional entity, and only the fictional entity that can vote. You act as a proxy for that fictional entity, the corporate entity of which they're created, which holds you as subject to the state. They've taken your rightful place as a man and a woman. They have extinguished it. And they took away the law from you. And they turned you into a commercial entity for their benefit. So why in the hell would anybody be wasting their time discussing politics? That just shows ignorance, stupidity. If your so-called government gave a damn about you, would they have sent all the strongest, smartest young men to be slaughtered? They did that on a purpose. Actually, a couple purposes. They don't want any pushback from the people, and the gains for the company. I mean, I've seen a lot of ludicrous election processes before. But what's going on stateside now is so over the top. You couldn't do a reality show that stupid. You couldn't do a sitcom that stupid. And there it is, 24/7. And what do you got? What's your choice? Think about it, America. What's your choice? You got a woman that goes on a late night talk show to show that she's strong mentally and physically, and she can actually open a pickle jar as proof of her stamina and strength to be your leader. You got another guy who would skin his best friend for $1, who loves to put his name on stuff. These are your two choices. These are your two choices for the leader of America. Only it ain't the leader of America. It's the CEO of the United States, which is a company. And all of these companies have joined together through the United Nations in order to form a world government. So obviously they don't represent you, do they? They're pushing you off your lands. They've sold you out long time ago. We manufacture nothing in our lands now. We are completely dependent on everything else but ourselves. And we're in the midst of a takedown. And it's time we started pushing back. And pushing back hard. We have to get back, and America is the very same as the lands up north here. when you look at the populations and you look at the size of the usable land. You know, we have a lot of land here. Well, we could use it. It's not as usable as the lands of the United States because we're on the upper end of the growing lands, and the United States has all growing lands. The United States is tiny, just the slightest bit smaller than China. It has basically no population compared to China, which means that the American people have all of the resources at hand to build, create, engineer, grow, manufacture everything that is required by the people of America. And when I talk like that, I roll into the land of nationalism, which they always equate to the Nazis. My attitude is, if you're not a nationalist, then what are you? If you don't care about your nation, then how can your nation survive? If you're not a nationalist, then you have no faith in your own people or your own abilities. If you ain't a nationalist, then you're a fool. And that's what they've turned us into, fools. And we got to shake that off somehow. Because just like I've been saying about my lands for so long, and it works just as well for the Australians, or the Brits, or the Americans. Just for a minute, imagine that your nation is the only landmass on the planet. Then ask yourself the question. With the landmass we have and the resources we have, could the number of people that call this nation home, could those people survive and thrive? And I think you'll find your answer is absolutely. And we got to get back to that. Now, I'm all for trade. Trade's wonderful. It has to be reciprocal trade. You get something, I get something. But this free trade thing is just a race to the bottom, and we see it. Look around. You're almost at the bottom now. You can't compete with somebody that's going to, I mean, if you're manufacturing shoes and the guy that's manufacturing over where they pay no wages and the people have no water and live in huts and are absolute slaves to the corporation there, which is what happened. And now they can produce a shoe for $1 and your shoe manufacturer is going to cost you $5 and it's open free trade with no tariffs. Guess what? You ain't going to be manufacturing shoes long, are you? You ain't going to be manufacturing anything. And that's what we've accomplished. We cannot put our people to work in good paying, long lasting jobs. And if a nation can't do that for its people, then it ain't much of a nation. See, we got to get away from this idea. We got to kill this company game here. We got to get back to being an actual nation of and by the poor, of and by the people. And until we do that, we're just going to continue to swirl as we go down the toilet. We have got to get our act together. And I'm sure we will at some point. or we're just going to roll over. And we don't want to do that. And we also don't want to wait until such time as we get into a shoot 'em up. Because it will turn out much like it did with the North American Indian. You won't win it. You're outgunned. You're completely outgunned. Now, as brave as the Native American warriors were, they were outgunned. So we need to move before that. We need to go get back our nations. We've got to turn it into a nation. There's never been a nation. It's always been a company. All of these countries were founded as companies. So when you look at it, you're on the bottom of the totem pole. There is no justice to be had because you're a slave of a company. That's got to get fixed somehow. Anyways, where did I see that really goofy story there? I think I saw it. I mean, it's just ludicrous. What's cooking here? Now, let me go back here and see. I thought I saw a really goofy story here. Stephen Harper, our last prime minister before this nutcase, has been awarded one of Ukraine's top honors. Why? I have no idea. Main terror threat into Canada comes from lone wolves, those inspired to attack, says a report. Not even close. Trudeau endorses Bono's One campaign. I wholeheartedly agree. Poverty is sexist. Oh, for God's sakes. Now, Bono, regardless if you like the music the band put out, I was actually listening, because I've never been I don't even remember what the name of the band was, but somebody had me listening and showed me a video back when Bono was pretty young. And I'm listening. There was a repeated kind of wasn't so much, it was a drum beat, I guess, but I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, this is the same new age riff, if you will, that was playing in More Strong stuff in some of their videos and that. I mean, this guy's been a player since get-go, okay? And as the UN says, we will use music, entertainment, sports to move our message. And that's what they've been doing. People ain't been paying attention. Anyways, what is this? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has joined a social media campaign urging world leaders to acknowledge that poverty has a disproportionate impact on girls and women. Women and girls are less likely to get an education, more likely to be impoverished, and face greater risk of disease and poor health. Trudeau wrote in a letter released early Thursday morning. The letter was crafted in response to a call from the One campaign, an organization co-founded by Bono, the frontman for the Irish rock band U2, can join One. You too can be a world citizen. You too can be suckered in. You too can be a fool. Which promotes maternal and child health projects in developing countries in Africa and elsewhere. The organization had sent an open letter to Trudeau and other global leaders this March to coincide with the International Women's Day, asking them to recognize that poverty and gender inequality go hand in hand. On behalf of the government of Canada, I'm writing you back to let you know that I wholeheartedly agree. Poverty is sexist, Trudeau wrote, employing the phrase used in the campaign. Now, I don't even know what sexist means from Trudeau. I mean, he is a pride guy. One thing he don't want to miss is a pride parade. So how poverty is sexist, I don't know. Anyways, the campaign, according to its website, has also been endorsed by the likes of Oprah Winfrey, actress Meryl Streep, Tina Fey, Facebook CEO Mark, I'm a son of a bitch Jewish piece of shit, Zuckerberg, and philanthropist Melinda, can I stick a needle in your arm and kill you slowly, Gates? I accept your challenge to lead as a feminist. I know that women must be treated equally everywhere, Trudeau wrote. Just in case some people aren't aware yet, Prime Minister Trudeau here in Canada is in fact a male feminist. This is one sick little pup we got on our hands up here, and whoever wins the American election, hopefully it's not Trump, because Trudeau will probably move somewhere and half of America will move to Canada. It'll be really, really screwed up. Excuse me. Trudeau wrote, noting that he brought gender parity to his cabinet when the new Liberal government was sworn in last year, sworn in when they took the oaths to the Queen Crown Corporation, not the people. Okay? None of these guys, none of these gals, none of these people represent the people. They represent the corporation. That's who they take their oath to. It is my hope that this will set an example for governments around the world, Trudeau wrote. Trudeau also reiterated that Canada is increasing its contribution to the Global Fund. Now, we just sent $785 million there. He's worried about poverty. Okay, he sent $785 million there, which impoverished the Canadian people. And that Global Fund, make no mistake about it, if you go to Muckabee and slam in the Global Fund, you will find that the Global Fund has a direct line up to the Clinton Foundation, and the Global Fund funds the Clinton Foundation. So apparently he's increasing an international partnership dedicated to ring the world of AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria by 20% to $785 million over a 2-year period. Canada is also hosting a fundraiser for the Global Fund September 16th in Montreal, U.S. President Barack Obama hosted the last such conference in Washington in 2013. Trudeau encouraged the One campaign to continue putting pressures on other governments. Canada can play an important role, but we need other leaders around the world to step up, Trudeau wrote. Get out the rope, get out the gallows, let's get our countries back. And let's get back to being nations and not fools. That's what we got to do. And by the look of it, I'm out of time. Anyways, everybody have a great night. And don't forget, we're going to win this thing. You got to talk to your people. You got to talk to your neighbors. You got to get some of this stuff through their thick skulls. I know people are getting ticked off. That's a good sign. But we have to use this anger, so to speak, that's brewing in a positive fashion. And that's going to be the trick. And we got to work together. We got to work hard. And we're going to kick their ass. Don't mistake about it. Everybody have a great evening. And I guess Tuesday night, Saturday.
Selling lies and buying time, killing people next in line. Lower classes, social slime, they don't matter. Genocide, sick from water, sick from air. Making money, they don't care. Caesar shit, force of air. Fuck them back, it's only for they bomb. They shoot, they kill, they massacre, rape, they burn the kids. No one makes countries lie to your face, fight and die. Cause God will give.
You're listening to UCY.